Well, howdy, 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 Sonder family. Happy Saturday morning. I am Jennifer Ogilvy. I get to be your facilitator this morning. I'm coming to you from a pretty warm Dallas, Texas area, and I think we've got a couple of Dallas area people, including someone who is waiting for a connecting flight at the airport. So welcome. I see a lot of beautiful, familiar names in our chat. When we gather together, we use that chat for our connection portion of our time together. So make sure that chat is set to everyone so that when you share, you are able to let everybody see what's going on. Speaking of the chat, you will find my co-facilitator, Maya. She is going to be hanging out in that chat. And if there are questions along the way, or, if you need a little help or some ideas for links or whatever, she can usually find something and drop that in and point you in the right direction, or at least get you to our wonderful customer care, which is always found at hello@silkenSonder.com. I do wish you a good morning and a happy Saturday. Hope your morning coffee, I've got my big O mug here, can be as comforting as a hug, your day be as bright as the sunshine, and your weekend unfold with grace. And there is something special about getting this setup done on a Saturday. So let's dig in. There are those community guidelines that we share with you, a reminder whenever we're here together, we create safe spaces for ourselves and for one another. Is this anybody's very first time to attend a setup social? Just drop a me in the chat. You know, this is a camera off event. This is a mics off event. So you can just kind of hang. But I see we're welcoming Liz this morning. Liz, we are so glad you found us. And Julie says, I'm first time in a long while. So, new beginnings. We love that. Really glad to welcome everyone here this morning. And again, I always say this is like having that person waiting for you to walk at your front door. You're probably going to go out the door if you know that somebody's waiting for you rather than if you're on your own. So our accountability partners are all gathered here this morning. And Deanna says her granddaughter's joining her. It's her first time. So good we love grands, we love kids. We're so glad that she's here, and hope she's got something to do with her hands, maybe plan out her week for a good school week ahead. And as you may know, we are in our last week of August, and we're finishing up our month of looking at freedom in our life. If you can believe that, August kind of flew by. So we'll be welcoming September soon. Want to make sure that you know about those stickers, and y'all, I can't say enough about this sticker set in with all the little pages. This one is kind of what we call an evergreen set. And so if you are interested in trying out stickers, you might want to check this one out. Maya will be sharing links for you to be able to just land on the page and get it. But if you were part of our exclusive night before last, we talked about our learning styles, our learning preferences, and what that looks like when we tackle our journals. And we learned, of course, that stickers can definitely, help you embrace different aspects of your learning preferences. And if I always say I'm not really much of a sticker person, but it's important to try new things because that's good for your brain to just try different ways of using your journal. It's also a beautiful way to keep things fresh, because sometimes you're like, I'm doing the same old thing. And push yourself, give yourself time and space to try something different in your journal. So this morning, we are going to be working on that last week of our mind map. And for those of you who are new or haven't been here in a while, That mind map is a bonus prompt you get for coming to the weekly setups. And always take a look at our monthly theme through 4 different lenses, 4 different weeks. We have these journal prompts. Don't worry if you haven't been here. You can grab a screenshot of that slide and consider those questions if you want to work on all 4 weeks worth of the mind map, or you can just, think about the one that we're going to be talking about this week. It's about taking what you need. Oh, and I see we've got some happy birthday messages going out to Kate, and happy anniversary to Catherine. Any other birthdays or anniversaries or special days coming up this week? Let us drop that in the chat so we can celebrate with you. We love those good vibes that come from celebrating. So we're going to do that mind map, our rosebud thorn reflection. That is a staple. Oh, y'all look at our birthday people. Oh my goodness, I love it, love it, love it. The rosebud thorn reflection is always a staple of these weekly setups. And the reason it's so important, and we include this every week, is that when we do that reflection, it allows space for gratitude. And gratitude is so good for our mental health when we stop for a moment and really think about what we are grateful for. And then we're going to do our weekly setup. So, as I mentioned, let's dig in to week 4 of that mind map. We have been looking at freedom through 4 lenses. There are our questions. So if you haven't been with us or you missed a week, grab a quick screenshot, or take a picture of it. And that's a good hint if you see anything that kind of resonates with you that you want to think about incorporating in your journal later. But week 1 was about personal freedom, and then week 2 was financial freedom. Last week, we looked at what does emotional freedom look like in our life. And this week, we're talking about intellectual freedom. And the prompt is consider a topic or an idea that you're passionate about, but feel limited in exploring or expressing due to external pressures or self doubt. What fears or barriers are holding you back, and how can you create a space where you can explore and share your thoughts without fear or judgment? And so that's kind of a mouthful, right? When we start thinking about intellectual freedom. And this topic you can get super deep with if you want, or you can kind of treat it lightly. And I've kind of brainstormed a few things that you might want to explore through that lens of intellectual freedom doing this prompt. Think about your creative pursuits and passions. And that's kind of something that maybe popped up for me. I would love to learn more about photography, more about like ceramics and pottery, and realize my barrier is my budget. So I'm going to be working on that. Artistic experimentation. Maybe you go a little deeper, look at philosophical or spiritual inquiries, your cultural heritage, political views. That could be kind of a hot topic right now. Social issues, forgotten interests from your past. What did you do as a kid that maybe you don't do now? Maybe some scientific mysteries, a place of advocacy that you're passionate about, perhaps your social media presence, public speaking, personal memoir. Maybe it's time to sit down and start exploring what that looks like, to record your wisdom from your years. Language learning, is it time to take a class and commit to that? Exploring why you feel a particular way about a hot topic. And this could be fun stuff, like also think about the change my mind stuff that you're seeing. This was a great add-in from our co-facilitator, Maya. She said, things like those fun questions. You could just go really fun with this. Is cereal a soup? Or what about, are you a pumpkin spice latte person or thumbs down? Change my mind. So you can take this in a number of directions. You can go very deep, you can go very light. But just kind of think about what are some ideas that you maybe feel limited in exploring, but you want to add those to your life. And this might be a prompt that gets started now, but you may end up ruminating over it for the next week or so. It's kind of a heavy one. So feel free to just kind of drop in the chat the things that are popping into your mind because what you're thinking of might be inspirational for one of our family members. And I'll be back to check in with you in just a few moments. like I said, this one is a biggie, right? You we could spend a lot of time with this consideration. So don't feel like you have to have it answered. And I do think you guys were all really starting to go down some pretty deep paths. Intellectual freedom. Nicole said, I'm going to say that I'm very afraid that intellectual freedom is fading, and that I fear no one really values truth or facts anymore, and because of the lies that get passed back and forth, like we just see stuff and we take it for granted. It's always about, remember, curiosity. It's about being curious and digging deeper, and trust but verify, as they say. And I think we also have to be careful, because think of the movement of artificial intelligence and what that's going to look like. So this is a pretty heady topic. It can be, like I said, we can make it light, but it can also be pretty heady as we start thinking about what intellectual freedom really does look like in our life, and how we can embrace moving forward and not being in fear of being held back, right? Or removing those barriers. So again, I don't think our couple of minutes of looking at this is going to do this topic much justice, but hopefully we've got our brains cooking and we can think about how we can maybe bring what we're thinking about into next month, as September's theme is knowledge. So now let's work on that staple to our Silk and Sonder weekly experience by looking at our roses, our buds, and our thorns. You will find this reflection on page 50. It's kind of the week's end reflection. And we, again, do this so that we can find those moments of gratitude that the week has brought us. And there is a lot of power in being able to maybe write the not so great stuff down, and hopefully being able to leave it on the page and not bring it forward into our life. Those roses are the things that you are celebrating, the things you're grateful for, the happy stuff, those positive things. And the buds are very much like the roses, except there may be things that are in the works, right? And it's something that you're looking forward to, something ahead in your journey. And then the thorns are just those things that are a little tough. And we know some of our thorns are just temporary. We had glitches in the week, and some of the thorns don't go away. They may be health issues, or like I like to say, the grown-up issues of life, finances, that kind of stuff, maybe work issues. And so, give power to the paper and get those things written down and try to leave them behind. For me, I ate lunch with my very best friend at this new little restaurant, new to us, in a town close to where my mom is, because I went and stayed with my mom and did some stuff this week. And the name of the shop, it's a nursery, and then they have a cafe and a gift. It's called Martha's Bloomers, and I just thought that was pretty adorable. And again, got to eat lunch with my friend who we don't live. I moved, and so I'm not close to her. So it's nice to do these long distance meetups every now and then. My bud and my thorn are the same thing this week. It's yard work. I have been trying to start thinking fall mindset. So I've been letting things go because it is oppressively hot in the Dallas, Texas area, and I just can't be out in 105 for too long. But I started yesterday doing some weeding, and so that's my bud, but it's also a thorn because I just can't endure the heat anymore. So I want you to think about your week. How can we support you? What do you need to share with us? And let us help carry that burden, and let us also celebrate. And I'll be back to check in with you. So drop in the chat so that we can, cheer you on and get excited for those roses and buds, and help you with those thorns. lots of inspiring things happening in y'all's worlds and in the people that love you. We've got some, back to school stuff, but you guys had some really exciting things coming your way. Great roses, so we celebrate those with you. We hold space with you for those thorns, whether they're little or they're significant. Just know that you've got your Sonder family. We got your back. And hopefully we can figure out how to turn some of those thorns into roses. So this week, I want to start a little bit different. I'd like you to either turn if you're we this is a transition week. So if you've gotten September, and you're already tired of August and, you wanna get going into a brand new, completely new start, turn to your September journal, right? And I know some of you, we got a few new people here so that you may be in your September journal. But I wanted to take a very quick look at that weekly spread that we find and just show you a couple of images so that that could be inspiring for maybe how you use those pages and set those pages up. So if you're in August, we're looking, this week is on 54 through 56. And if you're in September, it's pages 28 to 30. And I usually put my three things every day. At the end of the day, it's my end of the day reflection in these spaces. But I just thought it would be helpful to maybe see how some of these spreads are done. And yes, April, I agree that this first one there, it's just so simple. And you can see just very basic outlining, but made it very neat. Again, I'm going to refer back to the exclusive that Maya and I got to do on Thursday night. And if you are interested in exploring your learning styles, you can email hello@silkensonder.com and you can purchase the link to be able to watch that exclusive, but we can see how learning styles show up in our journal setup. And so there are some things when I notice, if you were there, you're going to maybe be looking at some of these, understanding, I bet I know what this person learning preference is by how they are using their journals. So again, some more examples of how folks are taking these spaces and setting them up to work in their life. That's what's so beautiful about our journals is, oh yeah, cold. She says hers is over there on the right. So I love when we get to these hit so that you guys get to see how we're using them. So you can see Nicole's doing her affirmation at the top there, and then three things. Nicole, do you do the three things? Is that like three things you're going to do, or is that your like end of day reflection? What are you doing with those three things? Drop that in the chat, so that we can know what your three things are. Mine is always an end of day reflection, just like those three good little, and it's little things like okay, three positive things. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. So, three positive things that happen. So, finding that way to embrace that daily gratitude. There are some others you can see very simple. It doesn't have to be complex, but it can be if that's what you need, right? You take what you need for your journal. So hopefully you were able to maybe grab something. If you're not sure what you do with these pages, something here inspired you. And so now we're going to dig into that weekly planner. I am planning to finish August strong in my August journal, and then we'll go into September. I'll have these extra pages at the front of September and then get going after with the first full week of September. That's my plan. But if you say, I'm done with August, I need to look at everything fresh and clean, jump into that September. That's one of the really cool things about our Silk and Sonder journals. If you are here for the first time or you're looking at these pages and you are wanting to freshen things up and try something new, here is a list of some ways that folks repurpose these pages. You can use them just as they are intended, but you can also change things up. So grab a screenshot of that. I do have a garden tracker in mine for a few months every year. It's not year round, but gardening is real important to me. So I make space for when it's kind of, high garden season. I'm getting ready to do that for the fall as I'm planning, as I'm watering, as I'm recording fertilizer and that kind of stuff. But it's not there all the time. So you take what you need. Oh, yes, April, ready to move on to September. That is okay. I always say, if the month's been a trash fire, jump into a new dumpster, right? There are a couple of, completely set up page ones of our setup. I love the one that's here on the left because you can see that tracking down at the bottom. This is kind of a end of the week picture, and you can see how some of the stuff is, repurposed, or instead of a to-do list, this person's made a bingo. There is a to-do list and a don't do this list for the example on the left. So again, it's about making these pages work in your life. And again, if I'm going to refer one more time to our exclusive about learning styles, you will be able to see some learning styles through these examples big time. So let's start with how we want to feel this week. This does not have to change from last week's feeling. This may be your word of the year. You may have a feeling for each day. Maybe Thursday, you've got a really big meeting, and so you're going to embrace a word for Thursday. Drop in the chat how you want to embrace this week. What are the words that are coming up for you? How do you want to feel this week? You can use a sticker, a quote, lots of words, one word. Maybe there's a picture. What do you have a focus for this week? For me, I want to feel tidy and sorted and just content. I had my grandkids for 2 out of 3 weeks, and then I went out of town, took care of my mom. I'm real behind and stuff. So I wanna feel like I've got that grip again. And yes, if you need a little help with a word, drop it in the chat. Like Kimberly just said, what's a feeling word for someone who prioritizes well? That's her goal. So if you could help her with that, Lisa's what's to be accomplished this week. Get all those things done. Jennifer is saying her word of the year was centered, and so she's going to embrace that because last week felt out of control. I like centered. That's very good. Confident and present, being aware of what's going around. So yeah, drop those feelings, though, that or feeling for the week. How do you want this week to look in your life? And again, you don't have to change it. And then let's take a moment to look at our weekly goals and our weekly to-dos. And I'm going to go through these slides really quickly and then put on music and go back through them so you can capture anything that inspires you or take a closer look. But again, always look at those intentions. What did you do? What did you say you wanted August to look like? Go back and look at that page. What on that page needs to be brought into this week so you feel like you are leaving August in the shape you wanted to leave it in? And I said, set your goal through the lens of freedom or knowledge as we are leaning into our new journals, our September journals, that theme of knowledge coming down the pipe. It really fits in with freedom with our mind map this week. So perhaps your goals are set around that. I like to suggest at the end of the month, maybe go back to your previous 3 weeks. And are there some goals that are left undone? Just bring those forward. They're already written. And you don't have to have 3 goals, and you don't have to set goals. You can repurpose, like the list you see there in the middle of the screen. And some of you have celebrations this week. Maybe you have one goal, and that is to celebrate your birthday or celebrate your anniversary. Love the idea of creating those no goals. What are you going to eliminate from your life that will serve you in a positive way? There are the goal ideas of being around a personal challenge. So, a health challenge for the week. And there's a great example there on the left: eat, hydrate, rest, and move. Very simplistic, very focused, all around that health theme. And then lots of you, I know I love this. This is a good default if you're having trouble thinking of your goals and you really want to set goals, is come up with some categories and then set a goal for each one of those categories. And again, there's a whole list. You can take a look at that while we're working on the page. But here are some examples from you, showing how that could look as you set your goals for the week. And then there's the idea of taking your goals and maybe directly tying your to-dos, not just having a random to-do list, but to-dos that are tied into those goals so that you can make sure that they do happen. It's kind of your steps for accomplishing those goals. So there's some great examples of that. And then again, we love that idea of repurposing. Maybe you don't feel that you need to have those goals. So you're going to do things like, this look in the middle there, that self care checklist, kind of that rhythm and routine checklist, because that's kind of a big goal. And that's how you are incorporating that. Maybe you put something like self love reminders and 3 things that you're going to remind yourself of this week. You maybe you put a bingo here. There's not a right or wrong way to do this. Again, it's about embracing what you need from this week. Our to-do list, my goodness, you can again just have a to-do list. They can be tied into your goals. You can set these up into categories like you see self, home, and others, or maybe by day, like a chore list, what you're going to do. I love the idea of those fun little stickers there. You can see someone's taken their to-do list over there on the bottom right, and there's a school to-do list and a personal to-do list. So just kind of helping you keep those things sorted. Here are some repurposing. As you know, I leave mine blank. I make mine into the to-do list. My to-dos go into that weekly spread. My little checklist. And so I use this space to celebrate all the extras that I do because I want to give myself credit for that. Maybe you need a to don't list this week. Again, what's not serving you, those physical reminders of writing it in your journal. So let me stop talking. I'm going to go back through all of these slides and kind of let us know if you repurpose any of these spaces, if you use them just as they are, how you set that up. I'll be back to check in with you in just a moment. There's a couple of things that came up in the chat, and one is if you have found something, landed on something that works for you, no reason to change that up, right? Use that week to week, like maybe doing this mini bingo. It makes it more fun to do a to-do list when you get to gamify it and check it off. But then there's also the idea of Kimberly shared she's trying some new things in her journal this week. Take some risks with that journal. And the beauty of trying new things every once in a while is that you are tapping into that idea of neuroplasticity, really making your brain do something new and different, and that kind of keeps things fresh, keeps those new synapses popping in your brain. So I love hanging on to what works for you, but also giving yourself that space to try new things. Now, let's drop down and look at our habits and activities. As Maya coined our favorite word, our habities for the week. This tracker is here this week so that you can make it work for the week you're going to have. That monthly tracker have all the things that we want to do most days of the month, but the weekly trackers can be set up for habits, but also activities. I think one of the best ones is, when you think about, oh, I've got carpool on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so I'm going to put carpool there and circle those days so that I don't forget kids. Things that can vary from week to week. And that's why we have this second opportunity for a habit tracker. And it is okay to have the same habits on both of these trackers. We have lots of examples of how to set this up. Some things I want to point out is if you'll look kind of over in the middle right there, this person is just tracking 3 days this week. So maybe they're going to travel. I know many of you may use this tracker for your work life, and you track Monday through Friday, and it's stuff that has to do with just your work life. And then your personal stuff is on your monthly habit tracker. You can set goals, but you don't have to set goals. You can just track. Again, it's about taking what works for you. Again, leaning into those, your learning preferences. There's way to interact with your trackers that will really speak to you. I do have the one at the upper left circled with that night walk with an audiobook. Those are two different things that have been paired together to make that happen. And so that's called habit stacking, when you take an activity or a habit that you're already doing and pair it with something else. You're going to be more successful in getting both of them done. Let's see. And then we've got some other examples here. Again, you don't have to fill in every line. Maybe you're tracking 3 things, like the example you see on the right, instead of having 5 things. Again, it's about setting yourself up for success. We don't want to have so much that we take on too much, then we don't get it done. The one in the lower middle there, that is a gamification of doing something 5 times, 4 times, 3 times, doing kind of that countdown mindset. So again, not a right way or a wrong way to set this up. I'm going to put on a little music while you work on your habits and activities for the week, and let us know, do you bring anything over from your monthly habit tracker that you see again on this weekly tracker? Do you set goals? Do you just track? How are you marking them off every day? Is it a daily check-in? Is it an end of the day reflection? Oftentimes mine will be pointing me back to some of my trackers. So my weekly will say, go check habit tracker. And that's one of the things I'm tracking. So let's work on this. I'll be back to check in just a few moments. right. We've got our goals set. We've got our to-do list in motion, and now we have our habits and activities for the week. So it's time to flip over to our second page of our setup this morning. And I am going to give you lots of examples that can be used in any of these spaces. So even if something is a meal plan idea, you can use it in your mind body health plan and vice versa. So we're going to take a look at either page 53 in your August journal or page 27 in your September journal. And we're going to go through all of these sections. Now, this is the page that tends to get repurposed more so than the first page, the page we just worked on. And as you can see, I've got a lot of examples of how all these spaces have been reconfigured to work for people in their lives and what they need on a particular week. So there's some great examples of how this page can look when it is all set up. Again, I'll go back and forth between these slides as we work on these pages. There are many different ways to use this. You can use it as your meal plan or your meal tracker. And here are 3 ways that people are using that differently, but all around their nutrition. So there is a tracking for protein and carbs and fats, a meal plan where it's all written out, or maybe it's a tracker. And then the person all the way over on the left is kind of doing the foods they're eating through 3 periods in the day. So again, different ways of using it for kind of the same thing for those nutritional needs. Lots of ways to repurpose. There's a long but not exhaustive list there. There's a couple of examples. There's a clothing plan. I actually used to track what I wore when I taught because my students would notice, like, didn't you just wear that? And so I would kind of keep track of what what I wore to work. Always loved this idea of the meal plan for the soul. How are you feeding your soul? You can see here's a ton of other examples, health trackers, word of the day, quotes. Your maybe my affirmations have been going here lately, but I don't always do that. It's a great space for a to-do list because there's lots of room to write. The mind body health plan, again, any of these can go back into that meal plan if that's what's working for you. Um, Lots of different reflections. I shared this a couple of weeks ago. I started tracking. Wanted to eat the rainbow. I wanted to really lean into eating more fruits and veggies and tracking them. And the week 1, when I started, I tracked that I threw in about 9 different types of fruits and vegetables. And when I started tracking and really being intentional, I found myself up there after 6 weeks at 21 different varieties of things. Just that purposeful writing it down had so much power for me. Didn't track it on days, but I was just kind of eating the same thing over and over again instead of really trying to embrace eating the rainbow. So that's my little tracker up there, the way I use my mind body health plan for several weeks. I'm still doing it. Love the idea of how do I feel? What do I need? How did I care for me? Again, what do you need to take from this? Um, Song list. Love that little bingo over there with our stickers that came out of this little sticker set. Makes that quick and easy, and you can make sure that you are taking care of yourself. The idea of alliteration, just making your days kind of fun. There's a couple of examples for that. Don't worry, I'll go back through all of these while you're working on these spaces. Some more ideas for repurposing. There's that shopping list. We've got lots of ideas of a lot of people love putting a bingo here because the bingo, the little squares are great for doing that bingo grid. Again, some more repurposing. I love just the idea on that shopping list, no unnecessary spending, just that power of writing that down, chores, intentions. Social check-in. I love the social check-in, and I actually put this in my monthly habit tracker now. This is the thing that inspired me to do that. And I just write the initials when I actually connect with someone. I was trying to be purposeful with that. And then finally, at this very moment in time, what are you loving? And I had mentioned I've been really busy with grands lately, so I am loving that I have time to catch up at home and get organized. I'm going to put on some music. I'll go back through all these slides and then we will wrap up our time together. This is your fastest hour of the week. We've come to the end of our time together. As Maya always says, this is not like a treadmill hour. It goes by too quickly. But I sure do enjoy starting the weekend, starting my mornings with you all. I'm so glad that you showed up for yourself and that you shared yourself with us. Feel free to share any part of your planner in Sonder Club. We would love to see your setup, or if you repurpose even one section, post that. And I love to see like end of the week stuff too. Like, what does your journal look like after you set it up and you've worked in it all week? Show us your progress. If you are curious about your personalized coaching plan, I've got mine on my phone. You might want to investigate this, check it out. Right now, during beta testing, it's half off. Email hello@silkensonder.com if you want to discuss a price point that may be able to be slid according to what you are able to afford. But this is a really neat way of embracing your self-care, your self-care habits. It's like having a personal coach, but it's 24/7 availability and a little bit cheaper than doing a live person. There are those QR codes for referring a friend, upgrading to an annual subscription, and then your survey. You will also receive a survey or email following this that can point you to those things. And Maya is sharing all those links. Hopefully, you've got that YouTube link shared or bookmarked. I'm sorry, saved, not shared, saved in your bookmarks so that you can access that anytime. There are so many socials. And I always say, if you're having a rough day, maybe go dig back into an old theme and scroll down and find like one of the journal prompt socials and sit and embrace that journal prompt with a new mindset, you're in a new space every day. So they are there for you. Another way of having Silk and Sonder 24/7 at your fingertips. Maya and I are so proud of you for starting your day with us and, kicking off the weekend, framing out a good week ahead. Thanks for joining us. Finish August strong, Sonder family, and we'll see you next time.